Imagine what it would be like if you could create your finest hour. Where would you be? What would you be doing? How would you feel? This morning I want to paint a picture of hope and possibility that you could take back to your workplaces, back to your homes, and back into your own lives, and with it, boldly create your finest hour. Now, do you like books? I love books, and I can't put into words the impact books have had on my life. And I'm kind of reminded of what Joyce Mattingly once said. She was asked which 3 books had the greatest influence on her. She said, well, that would have to be the Bible, my mother's cookbook, and my father's checkbook. Whenever I walk into the business self-help section of a bookstore, I'm overwhelmed with the number of books they have about leadership. We could find books that contain the leadership secrets of everyone from Attila the Hun to Abraham Lincoln to Wendy's Dave Thomas. Or we could find books about leadership that's invented, reinvented, visionary, strategic, servant, maximized, charismatic, innovative, intuitive, breakthrough, courageous, creative, and enlightened. Or we could have our leadership by the numbers. You know, the 7 habits, the 14 points, the 21 irrefutable laws. Now, all of these books and the programs they represent are extremely valuable. Still, I wanted to find a simpler system that would help everyone learn what really matters most about personal leadership and achieving your dreams. I want to offer you this hope. I have found a simple strategy for success by studying for over 30 years the life of one of the greatest leaders and motivators of the 20th century. I have tested this approach against the lives of hundreds of other successful men and women. It's worked in my life, and it can work in your life too. This morning, I'll share with you my findings. Well, having vision means seeing your goal, seeing it in your mind. Get the picture? Our vision should inspire us. The more detailed a picture you can imagine, the better. Now take our masterpiece here. You probably can't tell what this is, can you? This is what people may feel about your life. They can't tell where you're going, but that's okay, because you have your own vision of the outcome. Kind of reminds me of Christopher Columbus. When he started out, he didn't know where he was going. When he got there, he didn't know where he was. And when he got back, he didn't know where he'd been. Now, you might not be able to tell where I'm going, but that's okay, because I have the vision. When we create our vision, we're dreaming big dreams. Don't be chintzy here. It's your life, and you are worth it. Don't most of us tend to underestimate ourselves? Having vision means seeing your goal. To get there, you have to take the long view. You must develop what I call over-the-horizon sight. This means you might have to get a little bit higher in order to see further. And in order to do this, you'll frequently have to change your perspective, because you can't see very far if your face is on the ground. Your eyes must become more like a telescope and less like a microscope. Now, we learn that in art, as in life, there are any number of ways to paint the same scene. Regardless of the approach you use to paint your masterpiece, you must first picture in your mind the outcome you want. If you could see that picture in your mind, then you could paint it on the canvas. If you can see it, you can paint it. So now we have the first leg of the easel, which is vision. Vision begins in our mind. Let's now look at the second leg, which is courage. Courage begins in your heart. Well, when I was in the Navy, one of my commanding officers had the slogan, "Do it now." I can't tell you how many times I heard, "Do it now." Well, I've taken that slogan and improved on it. Courage means do it now and don't look back. Take that first step and don't revisit your decision to act. Do it now, and don't look back. Now, is this risky business? Sure it is, but life's a risk. See, courage means you are committed to taking action. All you're thinking about your vision means absolutely nothing if you never have the courage to take that first step. Courage is the thing. All goes if courage goes. That's what Sir James Barrie, creator of Peter Pan once said. Well, this is your masterpiece. The choices you make are up to you. Sure, you might make a mistake, but isn't that how you learn? Isn't that how we develop good judgment? Give yourself permission to make mistakes and to learn from it. Okay, so let's suppose we took that first step and it's not exactly what we wanted. Well, then what? Well, we step back from our masterpiece and look at it a minute. I mean, what are the different possibilities? What are the options open to us? Well, we could fix what we did, or we could create something new out of our mistake. Perhaps our mistake is nothing more than a happy accident. Of course, we could always start over again. Remember, this is your masterpiece. Well, if you're not on level ground, and you're not on a mountaintop, then where are you? Well, perhaps you're here, in the valley. In the valley, that's where you experience all the negative emotions, like defeats, and doubts, and despair, and depression. When you stand in the bottom of the valley and look up, you might not even be able to see the sky because the walls rise straight up. I've been in the valley before. Some of you may be in the valley right now. The good news is you don't have to stay there. Now, of these three domains, where do you think you grow the most? Well, you might think you grow the most here in the valley. But actually, you don't grow when you're in the valley. You grow when you climb out of the valley. And what does it take to climb out? You guessed it, vision, courage, and determination. So our mission is to climb out of this canyon of calamity to broad sunlit uplands from which we could march purposefully to our goals. And as I look at that canyon, it kind of reminds me of a family vacation I took in 1990. Packed up the wife and the 5 kids in the Suburban, and off we went. The 3 highlights of that vacation: Meteor Crater, the Grand Canyon, and the Whataburger restaurants in Phoenix, Flagstaff, Winslow, and Albuquerque. Now, how many of you have been to the Grand Canyon? Show of hands. Okay, that looks like about maybe 20, 25% of you. Well, when you stand at the south rim of the Grand Canyon and look down into the canyon, there, 1 mile below you in elevation, is the Colorado River. Now, when you see the Colorado River flying from 37,000 feet, like I did flying to California recently on a speaking engagement, it's a beautiful turquoise ribbon which snakes its way through an infinity of earth colors. When you see the Colorado River at the south rim, it's kind of a muddy, rusty, reddish color from which the river got its name. Now let's imagine you can get down to the water's edge. Now be very careful when you're down there, because as you can see, the water is very swift. And although the air temperature in the bottom of the canyon in the middle of summer may be 120 degrees, the water temperature is a constant 57 degrees, so it's kind of chilly. Now we look back over our shoulder, and there is the south rim from which we came. Now we remember it was 1 mile in elevation to get down. But as we contemplate the effort that's required to get out, we know in our heart of hearts it's 11 miles up. So what are we going to do? Well, this is where you want to take advantage of George Patton's advice. He said, don't take counsel of your fears. You see, we need to find any path, any trail, any road that'll get us out of this canyon. And as Yogi Berra said, when you come to the fork in the road, take it. What the heck? So let's go ahead and put in some suggestions of trails we might follow to climb out of this canyon. Now, at the Grand Canyon, some of these trails have very unusual names. Perhaps the most popular is called the Bright Angel Trail. It's also the ones the mules take, so you want to be careful if you do take that one that you don't slip. There's a South Kaibab Trail. which goes from the rim to the river, and a corresponding North Kaibab Trail. There's a trail called the New Hants Trail, and that implies that once upon a time there was something called the Old Hants Trail. And one which always tickles me, must have been very well traveled in its day, it's called the Hermit Trail. Some of these, you can tell, are very steep, and others are more gradual. We just need to find one which works for us, because the idea is not to stay in the canyon. That isn't great. Here we go. Remember, these are just suggestions. All kinds of paths you might follow as you climb out of the canyon. There we go. Now, as we climb out, you will experience what's called a breakdown. Breakdown? Well, it's a totally unexpected event in that we don't know when it'll occur. We just know that it will. It's like 2 steps up, 1 step back, and you kind of fall back down into the canyon. Let me give you an example. Well, the path to your horizon, to your dreams, isn't going to be straight. It isn't going to be smooth. It's going to be cluttered with obstacles and distractions. Deep chasms are going to separate you from your dreams. At times like these, remember your vision. Keep moving forward with courage. Determination will get you there if you never give in. See, determination means you have the discipline and the dedication to follow your dreams across the deepest canyons. It takes discipline and dedication to remain focused on your vision. It takes discipline and dedication to continue in the face of hardships and obstacles and criticism. As we create our masterpiece, we'll know that our canvas is supported by an easel with 3 sturdy legs. And these 3 sturdy legs form a methodology. So when do you use this methodology? That is vision, courage, and determination? Well, you use it all the time. You use it when you take on a new job. You'll use it when you begin a new project or responsibility. You'll use it when you assume a new leadership position. Vision, courage, and determination. These are the 3 key factors. Okay, so where are you in this painting? Well, you're perhaps here in the foreground, standing on this precipice. And there's your dreams in the distance on the horizon. You want to move forward, but there's some obstacles in the way. How are you going to get across them? I mean, only Superman can leap a chasm in a single bound, and you sure can't do it in 2 jumps. I mean, how are you going to deal with the self-doubt? How are you going to handle the criticism and the ridicule? Well, what did Churchill say about dealing with obstacles and problems? He said, never give in. Never give in. Never, 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 never. In nothing great or small, large or petty. Never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense. So what do we do if we get stuck? Well, what did we do before? We step back from our masterpiece and consider the options. I mean, are the obstacles truly as great as we think they are? Just maybe we've made a mountain out of the proverbial molehill. Step back and gain a new perspective, because when you change your perspective, you may end up changing your destiny. Now, most people look at a towering leader like Winston Churchill and see a life full of extraordinary achievements. Few people, however, see that Churchill's road to greatness was neither straight nor smooth. He had to wage a constant battle with defeats and doubts and despair and depression. But by using vision, courage, and determination, he was able to turn adversity into advantage. Now, Churchill's depression was so troubling. He had a name for it. He called it his black dog, not to be confused with his beloved Rufus. Well, I used to have a black dog. His name was Bo. And I also had some other wonderful pets. Now, as a matter of curiosity, how many people out there have dogs? Show of hands. Dog people? Okay, that's better than half. How about a little equal time? Cat people? Show of hands. I don't know. That's about 20%. I don't know what it is about cat people. They tend to be a little tentative about getting their hands up. I have 4 cats, and I'm proud of it. Now, does anybody have a pet pig? Okay, no one's admitting to one here. Usually one person in every 5 or 6 audiences has a pet pig. Well, Churchill once said, dogs look up to us, but cats look down on us. But pigs just treat us as equals. Let me ask you, if a pig loses his voice, does he become disgruntled? Now, this changes everything. What you thought was impossible is now certainly within your grasp. It may only take a step to get there. By changing the way you look at something can change everything. You see, when we changed our perspective and lifted our face off the ground, those huge canyons were nothing more than cracks in the ground from which we could march purposefully to our goals. You see, you're just a step away from your finest hour. And I want to challenge each of you today to take vision, courage, and determination back to your workplaces, back to your homes, and back into your own lives. And with it, boldly create your finest hour. Now, most historians agree that this was also Winston Churchill's finest hour. And what brought Churchill to this time and place in history? A lifetime of using vision, courage, and determination. Now, some people may argue that Churchill's leadership style is no longer applicable today. Don't believe that for a moment. After 9/11, Rudy Giuliani rallied the people of New York with these same 3 qualities. Wouldn't you agree it was Giuliani's finest hour? He and the people of New York stood as tall as the Twin Towers. If you can see it, you can paint it. Do it now, and don't look back. And never give in. These timeless truths are as valid today for you as they were for Winston Churchill. Now, what will vision, courage, and determination give you? Let me sum it up in one word. Victory. They'll give you victory. Thank you. May you reach your finest hour, and God bless you all.